at more than 2,000 meters above sea level. Where clouds drift through the primordial forests of the southern Cheongshan Range lies a world few people have ever seen. This is Bidoup Núi National Park, one of Vietnam's most pristine alpine ecosystems. Its rugged terrain, scarred by steep mountains and deep valleys, creates distinct microhabitats. In this cool, damp climate, life has evolved in special ways. Many species found here exist nowhere else on Earth. Among them is a tiny bird hidden deep in the forests of Bidoup. Collared gray-crowned crochets. Very little is known about the behavior and daily life of this endemic bird. From the Bidoup Ranger Station, the journey begins. The path into the heart of the national park passes through vast three-needle pine forests, a typical ecosystem of Vietnam's southern highlands. At this altitude, wind and sunlight shape every form of life. Beneath the seemingly quiet pine canopies, another world is constantly in motion. The Vietnamese green finch is a small bird endemic to the Dalat Plateau. It lives only in cool, deep pine forests above 1,200 meters. Moving from one cluster of pine needles to another, it searches for tiny insects and young pine seeds hidden deep in the canopy. The yellow on its belly stands out like a small flower among the green pines. Sometimes it flashes in the sunlight, then quickly disappears into the endless forest. The Vietnamese green finch has its own way of hunting. Quietly, slowly, it slips through thin pine branches, pauses, tilts its head to observe, then suddenly strikes with precision. Every movement matters. Every chance to feed can decide its survival. In the high mountains, adaptation is everything. In this pine forest, not every bird hunts as carefully as the Vietnamese green finch. Nearby, a completely different strategy is taking place. The crossbill. Anyone who thinks a bird's beak must always be straight and neatly closed may be surprised by this unusual bird. Its crossed beak looks, at first glance, like a mistake of nature. But that unusual body part helps the crossbill reach a food source almost no other bird can. It skillfully opens each scale of the pine cone and pulls out the tiny seeds hidden deep inside. Life always finds a way to solve difficult problems. The crossbill's crossed beak may look like a strange mistake, but it is the key to survival. Over time, its once straight beak evolved into this crossed shape. It can press its tongue into the gap made by the crossed beak to take seeds from inside pine cones. In this forest, being different can mean staying alive. Those that failed to adapt disappeared long ago. The crossbill's strange beak is the result of natural selection over countless generations. Few birds are as well adapted to feeding on pine seeds. What seems like a flaw has become an advantage in this forest. All species adapt, survive, and depend on an ecosystem that may look simple, but is deeply complex. The three-needled pine forest. Here, the pine forest is not just a habitat. It is their whole world. And when these forests change, the survival of this tiny bird becomes more fragile than ever. As we go higher, the forest begins to change. The pine trees disappear, giving way to evergreen broadleaf forest. The air becomes colder and wetter, while most of the light is blocked by the thick canopy above. Beneath the trees, every movement becomes cautious. An Indo-Chinese fulveta appears briefly among the low bushes. In this environment, any unfamiliar movement can signal danger, and every creature remains constantly alert. High in the canopy, a pair of Mrs. Gould's sunbirds are dancing. Their soft, constant movements signal that the breeding season is near. In the cold mist of the mountains, life continues to follow ancient rhythms, as it has for millions of years. Our target on this journey is another species. Along the trail, we use sounds from a small speaker to imitate the territorial call of the gray-crowned crochus. This bird's sound marks its territory. When it hears an unfamiliar call, it rushes out to drive the intruder away. The forest falls silent. Only drops of water fall from moss-covered trunks. Then, from deep within the undergrowth, a reply rings out. Short, sharp, full of caution. The sound comes closer and closer. The forest seems to tighten around us. Every movement slows down. Under the low bushes, dark shapes appear and disappear in an instant. Their short, strong legs help them move easily through the dense undergrowth. This is why getting clear images of this bird is never easy. The gray-crowned crochus lives in small groups, but moves like one united team, always moving, always calling. Their rapid calls make the group sound much larger than it really is. A strategy to confuse intruders. But around humans, this bird always keeps a safe distance. With a limited and shrinking habitat, the gray-crowned crochus is now among the most vulnerable endemic species in the Bidoup ecosystem. When the last gray-crowned crochus move away, the light is no longer strong enough to pass through the dense forest canopy. The sun slowly sinks behind the mountain peaks, and the old forest quickly falls into darkness. The temperature drops fast after sunset. A new day begins. The first rays of light pass through the mist and wake the forest. Drops of water on moss and lichen reflect the faint morning light. life continues. We carry on our journey to explore the summit of Bidoup. Along the way, fallen tree trunks are scattered across the forest floor. But here, death is not the end. It is the beginning of a new life cycle. Fungi, insects, and microorganisms are quietly breaking down dead wood, returning nutrients to the soil. Beneath the primary forest canopy, this closed cycle continues without pause. Along the forest trail, we spot a gray-cheeked warbler. It appears restless, as though warning intruders to stay away. After watching for a while, the reason becomes clear. Right beside the trail, a nest blends almost perfectly into the tree trunk. Covered with moss, dead leaves, and lichen, the nest is almost invisible in the forest. In this environment, the ability to hide can be just as important as the ability to survive. As we move closer to the summit, the vegetation changes again. Dwarf bamboo blankets the forest floor, forming a thick layer across the cold, damp ground. When the dwarf bamboo disappears, a new ecosystem appears. The rhododendron forest. Ancient trees covered in moss bloom together in the mountain mist. It is a fragile beauty, shaped by hundreds of years of adaptation to a harsh climate. After hours of climbing, the summit of Bidoup finally appears before us. At 2,287 meters, the wind is stronger, the temperature is lower, and the ecosystem is much harsher. A flock of Dalat shrike babbler appears among the moss-covered trees. Watch and study the unfamiliar visitors. At this altitude, only the best adapted species can survive. At the top of Bidoup, cold winds and year-round moisture have created a special kind of forest. Dwarf forest. Here, trees do not grow through speed, but through adaptation. Every small trunk, every soft layer of moss, and every delicate orchid is the result of hundreds of years of evolution in the cold, damp climate of the mountains. Leaving Bidoup summit, we descend a long slope. On this side of the mountain, the primary tropical rainforest remains almost untouched. And in the middle of it stands a giant that has been here for more than 1,000 years. An ancient Fujian cypress, more than 1,300 years old. When this tree first took root, many human civilizations had not yet appeared. It has stood here through countless changes in climate, long before humans gave this land its name. For thousands of years, it has held water for the forest and supported mosses, lichens, insects, and countless other living things. An entire ecosystem exists within one living body. Ancient trees like this help keep the primary forest stable. For more than a millennium, it has become part of the forest itself. A living memory of the wilderness, still standing quietly in the mist of Bidoup. If protected, it may live for many more centuries. If not, it will survive only in memory. On the way back, a strange life form appears under the forest humus. The mountain balanophora. At first glance, it looks like an alien creature. The purple-red structures rising from the ground are its reproductive flowers. The rest of the plant remains hidden deep underground. This species is a parasitic plant. It has completely lost the ability to photosynthesis and lives by taking nutrients from the roots of its host plant. Most of its life cycle takes place in darkness below the ground. Only during its brief breeding season do its flowers emerge upon the cold, damp forest floor. This remarkable plant can survive only in nearly untouched primary forests. And when the flowering season ends, it disappears once more. Quiet, mysterious, almost invisible within the vast forests of Bidoup Núi National Park. The journey ends, but the forest keeps breathing. In the cold mist of Bidoup, thousands of life forms continue to exist quietly, as they have for millions of years. Every bird call, every layer of moss on dead wood,